so special.
I'm telling y'all, in this faith, the only thing that you can do is try. You gotta apply these laws, statutes, and commandments with the faith of the Most High, Yahweh. Some of my I'm telling you, I tried. A mouth is hard to contain, the face to point the blame. I got a 9 iron, I'll plug you, welcome to the range. Dry bones, hunger pains, pestilence and hurricanes. Niggas wanna entertain, the blind can't ascertain. The war's for your brain, wanna suit up, then come see me. Read John 8 and 32 and maybe we can be free. No hookups or freebies, Israelite rules on GP. Making the heathen flee, living the word is my destiny. I might get foul, throw the towel, where's the referee? Friends connect my Hennessy, you gassed off jealousy. Feminine tendencies, love affair with enmity. These kites want our legacy and lied about equity. Rebel like the Maccabees, worldwide catastrophes. Pray when we face the east, the 7 crowns on the beast. Let my dogs up the leash, hit the word in the streets. I'm Mayweather with the word, all wins, no defeats. I try to stand tall from pillar to post, but I swear these things be doing the most. I try to keep it real when everything's fake. Never fold, never break, I'll be a stand-up J. I try to avoid these stumbling blocks like potholes and scanning you niggas like barcodes. I try to keep it real when everything's fake. Never fold, never break, I'll be a stand-up J. As good as it gets, the Lord said it best. Yours is delayed and mine is expressed. My spirit is vexed. Hit the left and Van Ness, keep the law for success. I heard the word about Kemet and I wasn't impressed. Nevertheless, I keep my sword sharp. He loves playing in the dark. Raiders of the ark, Harrison Forest get torn apart. Why you wanna start a game that you can't win? A bunch of jokers, charlatans, and Harley Quinns. Melanated skin, holding the upper hand. You rustle on the motherland, gird with the bands. Do as the Lord commands, and it's like the sands. 144 grand is how we seal the deal. It's no swine with the meal, elected like you're ill. Israel, how it feels, time to break the spell. Shouts to UZL, from the depths of hell. I'm doing life for Christ and I don't need no bail. I try to stand tall from pillar to post, but I swear these ain't be doing the most. I try to keep it real when everything's fake. Never fold, never break, I'll be a stand-up J. I try to avoid these stumbling blocks like potholes and scanning you niggas like barcodes. I try to keep it real when everything's fake. Never fold, never break, I'll be a stand-up J.
All right, here we go. All praise, honor, glory to the Most High. While you have a shot, it's your brother IQAhmath. I acquire first name. IQ is all the same. Welcome to another episode, DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. All right. If you've been around, you've been picking up what I've been putting down. But if you have not, don't get too close because you might get shot. How about that? Shabbat shalom to the family that's in the house, man. Definitely want to salute and appreciate the support for brothers and sisters who've been tapping in, checking in, adding on, supporting the channel and what we do over here. Let me give my salutations to Hashemai in the house, Uziel in the house, Shalak, of course, is in the house, Ashar, of course, he's in the house, Rosemary and the family out there in London, Shalom to y'all, Shalak, Naquab, Brother Jason's in the house of Bayan, all praises, Brother Ron is in the house, Koaf in the house, Al-Dad in the house. Shabbat shalom to everybody, man, that's tuning in, tapping in, slowly but surely getting them notifications. If you have not already, make sure you wipe them feet, man. Make sure you come up in here clean. Don't be afraid to come in and salute your fellow saints, man. Come in, give a holy greeting, to your brothers and sisters, man. Let it be known that you're in the house. All right, shalom to everybody that's tapping in, man. You can see it, doomsday, no turning back. And can you imagine, man, almost 40% of America agrees that we're in the end times. Almost 40%. You would think that that's unheard of. I know a lot of us, when we go out here and we're pushing this word and we're trying to get this knowledge out, and it seems like we're just hidden against stone walls or stone bricks and ain't nobody listening it. But on the low, I got an article and a study that says 39%, between 29 and 39% of America agree that we're in the times of the end. Doomsday, Armageddon, so forth and so on. America has an analytics division that has many of y'all know about a doomsday clock, where they keep track of catastrophic end time events, so forth and so on, right? And they're saying it's already like 1 minute to midnight. Once it hits midnight, it's over with, right? So even Esau is taking accounting of the timing, and the Most High told us to do that from the beginning. Let me stop sharing that. Let me start sharing here. We're gonna get right to it, man. If I'm coming in clear, everything sounding all right, man, throw a 7 in the chat for your brother. Do me that solid, would you? Do me that solid, would you please? All right. Let me do it this way because I don't even want to mess around. Come on now. 7 in the chat if I'm all right. If I'm coming in, okay. Where we at here? Gotta go the long way, y'all. Good, good. Got some 7s up in there. All praises, right? So we've been understanding and knowing about the concept of time, not only from creation, but when the Most High told us to pay attention to time, it also was in relevance to his son's return and the judgment of the nations, the deliverance of his people, so forth and so on, right? We've gone over 2nd Ezra 9 a number of different times, but it's never enough. Because as we keep seeing things unfolding throughout the earth, it's constantly a reminder to let us know that the word of the Lord is true and that we have to constantly stick to it. Because guess what? Even besides that, let me get another tab open here. Isaiah 28. And one of the classic scriptures that we all learn and understand when we come into the truth, we're learning about how knowledge is relayed and doctrine is understood, right? Isaiah 28:9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. So when you're weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, that means that you're prepared to be raised up and matured, weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, meaning that you're getting the nutrients that's necessary, the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the discipline, the counsel, the might, the instilling of the fear of the Most High is in you. That's who's going to receive and be taught knowledge and understand that knowledge via doctrine. Okay. Verse 10, it says, for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept. A precept is an instruction, a precept is a command, a precept is also a statute, right? So we have to learn, not only is it based upon a commandment or understanding, like a precept has to be compounded with another precept in order to cohesively bring together understanding. Precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. You have to really analyze this word by line. This isn't Jet Magazine, aging myself. Jet Magazine been out of print for who knows how long. How about your favorite, gossip sites or whatever? Israel loves a little bit of tea, man. If you're on who's printing out stuff now? What is it? Gossip, Media Takeout, all these other, rumor mill sites and all that. You can't be reading these. You can't read the Bible the same way that you like reading your favorite vlogger or blogger. I mean, there's so many damn terms nowadays, man. It's hard to even keep up with this stuff. A vlogger is somebody who does video logs. A blogger is somebody who's writing. Okay, whatever. The Lord says you got to read this line upon line. It has to be analyzed, almost like you're looking under a microscope. Here a little and there a little. So you may have to read a little here in Isaiah, there a little bit more over in Jeremiah, and then you might have to bring it all together in Ezekiel. You might have to bring it all together in Revelation 12, whatever. But that's how it is. It's a puzzle. It's a mystery book. You can read it front to back, Genesis to Revelation, to get the history, the understanding, the context of the Bible, but to break down the knowledge that's what's in the book, to understand the doctrine that's what's in the book, there's instructions on how we're supposed to do that. You always hear them people, hey, I read the Bible 3 times, front to back when I was locked up. And then you come out and you say, well, what's your nationality? I mean, what did you get from it? Should we be keeping the commandments? No. Did you know that Christ was black? I read something like that, but I don't remember. It's like, because it wasn't read correctly. Verse 11 is important. For with stammering lips and another tongue. What's stammering? Stammering is like stuttering, right? And when you're stuttering, that means you're repeating. something over and over again until it becomes clear or until it comes out more fluent. So the fact that if we read Second Ezra, I don't care if we read it 200 times, there's always going to be an understanding that comes from it based upon whatever's going on in the moment, because the Most High said that this is what we're supposed to do. When he said measured out the time, that means you have to constantly be an observant, and then you go back and you compare and contrast. So stammering lips. So there will be a repetition of scripture reading. Sometimes our people get frustrated. We're in this microwave society where everything's just supposed to be handed to you on a silver platter, like baby birds sitting in the nest, and the mother bird comes out and she gets the worms and everything else, and they don't have to do anything but chirp and get the worms dropped in their mouth. And then when that doesn't happen, oh well, I got to go somewhere where I can just get it easy. That's why it's not that easy, for brothers who aspire to be teachers or leaders or what have you. I mean, you can't binge watch your favorite teachers on YouTube for 6 months and then go run out there on the streets with no experience, no understanding, no guidance, and then figure I got a camp, I'm out here doing it. No. Or you can't get overly ambitious and say, well, I know that already. I've heard that scripture a million times. Why are they going over this again? I heard it because the Lord said with stammering lips and another tongue is he going to speak to his people. There's a method to the madness and how we receive this thing. So don't get frustrated. Don't get Second Ezra 9 again. You dang right, Second Ezra 9 again. Why? Because it's relevant to what's going on right now. And it's an instruction. You never throw off the instruction that the Most High gives you. The Most High tells you to do this. Hey, measure the time. That means it's got to be a consistent thing. You got to constantly be looking and watching the times, because if we're talking about doomsday and damn near 40% of America saying, yeah, we agree, then that should let us know that the Spirit of the Lord is moving on this place, that the Spirit and the awakening of the children of Israel is rising, and everybody can feel it. Despite the little knuckle dragging, belly slithering Jakes that was acting a fool over there at the spring break this year. I seen a report they was talking about STDs is up in Houston because, in our community, because, fornication is at an all-time high. People are just setting stupid goals of one night stands, and they're on the suicidal mission of I only live once. Let's go all out. Riding along with the wave with these little Instagram and Facebook mob meetups and all this other stuff. Despite that, because remember, the Most High said 2/3 of his children got to go. Somebody's got to pay the dues. Somebody's got to be the one to take the fall. And unfortunately, the youth is out there really wilding out. From the YNs running around with pistols on them and shooting each other up every time they see him at the grocery store. At the liquor store or at the car dealership or wherever. These are all things that our people have to be awakened to. But it also is a measurement of understanding the times that we're in, because 2 Timothy 3 said perilous times are going to come. Children being disobedient to parents, men lovers of themselves, covenant breakers, truth breakers, all this is all going to be part of the time. So these are the things that we're measuring. Verse 1, 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. Esau does that by his doomsday clock. Everybody is aware. Let's look at it right here. Just look real quick. Now you see here, I'm sure everybody's seen. Oh, they restricted my access. Ain't that something? Let's see. Esau's measuring the time. How come we're not? I don't want to know. I don't care. It's not important to me. Leave me alone. I want to live my life. Oh, okay. Doomsday clock is a symbol that represents how close humanity is to self-destruction due to threats like nuclear weapons and climate change. So imagine the talk now is heavy nuke talk right now within this warfare. This is all we've been hearing about, even since Joe Biden was in office. Whole lot of nuke talk, right? From Russia, North Korea, the US, China, Pakistan, Israel. All nations is even speaking about it, right? Now look at this. As of January 27, 2026, it is set at 85 seconds to midnight. 85 seconds. That's a minute and 25 seconds. What's it say? The closest it has ever been. That's as of January. That was 2 months ago. 2 months ago. Okay. Now, if the Most High is telling us to measure the time, and Esau is saying, look, according to our calculations, a minute and 25 seconds is left. We're closer than we've ever been. And if you're in the spirit and you've been watching, you understand, and you're in cohesion with that understanding. And for once, you can agree with your enemy. You can say, yeah, you're right. We are close. The end of Esau and the beginning of Jacob's rule, yeah, we're very close to that. Now it says, and when thou seest parts of the signs pass, so when you're seeing part of the signs, the prophecies, the judgments and the things that's going on, he said, when you see part of these things, it ain't got to be everything. Part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time, wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So remember, even Yahweh Shai told us that all these are the beginnings of sorrows, not necessarily the end times. I mean, the final curtain call or whatnot. We know that there's still much more to go. However, it said when part of these things start going on, then you know that the alarm, what do you call it? The stopwatch has been set. Now, what measurement of time that stopwatch is on, we don't know. Because remember, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai even said, no man knows the time, not even him, nor the holy angels. So we don't know if it was set at 2 minutes, and Esau is saying it's a minute and 25 because that's what he's breaking under, just in relevant terms. But we know that stopwatch has been hit, and it's, your 60 minutes got that whole little clock ticking sound for that show. That's how the Most High is working in the spirit. It's on. And he said, then we'll understand. Because what's going to happen? The Most High is going to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall see earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, that's clear. We've seen that. Very much so over the last 5 years. More than it's ever been. Especially now. Right? Now, verse 4 said, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So we're talking about prophetic things that's going on. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So everything has a beginning, everything has an end. And so we should know and understand that even dealing with Esau, as I said before in 2nd Ezra 6, Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Every kingdom has had its reign and rule from Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Medes, Greece, Rome, Great Britain, America. Yeah, America is almost at its end. All good things must come to an end, as they say. And they said that in the end is now being made manifest. So when that's being understood and the people of the world is even seeing it, then what should us moving in the spirit and us in the discipline of the law, statutes, and commandments be understanding? Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. So it says, even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works. So we're going to see things as plain. You can just see the power and the glory of the Most High, powerful works, whether it be through the oceans, whether it be through the skies. You see the glory of the Most High through his creations, powerful works that go on. But it said in endings with effects and signs. These are going to be things that's going to be miraculous things that we're going to be seeing. You're going to see powerful things happening. Judgment's going to be happening. Prophecies being unfolded. Mirroring what the scriptures say. Where there's not going to be any doubt that what you've held on to, I've held on to, for however long the Spirit of the Lord woke you up and brought you back to the understanding who you are, and the Holy Spirit of the Holy Comforter bringing all these things back to your remembrance, however long that's been. It's all going to be worth it when it's all said and done. Verse 7, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. So we have to have works and faith. The Christian church will tell you ain't got to have no works, just faith. No, what's your works got to be? Your works got to be keeping the commandments, and faith in Christ. That's according to Revelation 14:12. You got to have both. And what's that going to equate to? Shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. So we're going home. That should let you know that the people of the Lord is not over there right now, whining and crying about anti-ism. You know that word, anti-S word, right? Running around doing propaganda videos and fake videos talking about whether or not Benjamin, that not a Jew, if he's alive because he's sipping coffee at the local small hat Starbucks. I mean, listen, Israel, don't even get caught in that foolishness. Because as soon as there was word that the Ayatollah Khomeini's son, that he might be put to death, he ain't got no real things going on. There's no videos of him out there. Now they throw out there, oh, well, Netanyahu, he's dead too. Like everybody's throwing out fake videos. This is all distractions, man. Don't get caught up in that. You know, some of our people that love to spread a nice little conspiracy, man. We love a little bag. I mean, a little rabbit hole to wiggle down and go chase something. I was talking about it earlier today. One of the brothers had sent a video regarding Net Not a Jew talking about how Yahweh Shai can't be even compared to Genghis Khan, which is blasphemous in itself, right? As much as that's being said, statements like that, if he is put to death, it's going to be made public. It's going to be made known. The Most High is going to make sure that everybody knows. Ding dong, the witch is dead. You know, that old scenario, that he's up out of here. I said, man, he's going to have like a Nicanor type display. It's not going to be no, you know, wondering whether or not it's an AI video or not. No. It's going to be understood. That dude, he deserves a public display. Right. So don't get caught in that, man. The Lord says, shall be preserved from said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. So the salvation, we're not going to be in our salvation until we're back in the land and within the borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Okay. Let's stay in Ezra, chapter 2. And let's get some inspiration. Chapter 2, verse 24. Abide still, O my people, and take thy rest, for thy quietness still come. Nourish thy children, O thou good nurse, establish their feet. How do we nourish our children? Right. Our people don't read. This is principles, man, that our people don't even, haven't learned to apply when it comes down to the nourishing of the children. It ain't about because you got Section 8 and WIC and you're making sure that they got plenty of food and EBT and all that. No, that's not the nourishment that the Lord needs them to have. It's not about making sure that they're going to school and they're getting their education. No, the real teaching and the real learning that we teach our children is what the Lord commanded us. Look at this, Psalm 78:5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children. That's what we're supposed to be doing. The law, statutes, and commandments should be made known to our children. Our children should know this way more than they know about all these TikTok channels and TikTok dances and trends and worrying about, Instagram and they shouldn't be. That should be the last thing that they be learning and concerned about. If they don't understand about the laws and the commandments and the ways of our forefathers and foremothers, then we have to rewind, reset, and get them back on track. Thus saith the Lord. He didn't ask. This was a commandment. So don't think that, because it's not in the Torah, or it's not Genesis to Deuteronomy, I don't see it as a commandment. What? We do see here that there's commandments that we should be doing. Teaching your children the law, statutes, and commandments is a commandment of the Lord. That's one of them. Verse 6, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children. So it's supposed to be generational. People want to talk about generational curses and how do we break those things. You start with educating. You start with teaching them the righteousness of the Most High. You start with the laws and the commandments, giving the sisters and giving our daughters self-respect, dignity, chasteness, virtue, giving them humility. The men, teaching them about humility, brotherhood, strength, honor, defending of your nation, right? Learning so that you can teach the next man, being an example to the flock and for your brother, your sister. These are all things that become generational, and once it becomes generational, it becomes second nature, and now it's all part of our spiritual makeup now. And you have a whole new redefined nation and household. Because once we do that, what's verse 7 say? That they might set their hope in the Most High and not forget the works of the Most High, but keep his commandments. That's one thing that our people have always done. We love to have selective memory. We forget about the commandments of the Most High. What happened once we came up out of Egypt, man? How long was it before we started murmuring, complaining, damn near revolting against Aaron and Moses, questioning their leadership, before the Most High had to start making examples and putting them to death? I mean, our people just went through seeing 10 plagues. We're getting ready to talk about it and part of it in Passover in the next week and some change. How our people went through all of this and still came out, forgot about the miracles and the deliverance of the Most High, the destruction of the firstborn, man. A lot of the enemies got put to death trying to follow us. The Most High preserving us, cloud by day, fire by night, leading us through the wilderness, preserving us and taking care of us while we're out there being nomads, and we still have reason to complain and forget. I tell you, man, our people, we are not worthy of the salvation that's been promised to us, man. As spoiled and hard-headed and stiff-necked as we are, the Most High said, but those are my kids. I chose them. I anointed them. I know they stubborn, they hard-headed, rebellious, but they're mine. And I'm going to take the good ones and the bad ones, I'm going to deal with them. Verse 8, it might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that said not their heart aright and whose spirit was not steadfast in the Most High. That's not what we want. We want to get back, reset, get our people steadfast in the spirit of the Most High, right? So now let's go back. 2 Ezra chapter 2, verse 25. Nourish thy children, O thou good nurse. Establish their feet. As for the servants whom I have given thee, who's that? Oh, Isaiah 14? Oh, okay. There shall not one of them perish. Yeah, because they're going to need to serve. So, the question of Gentile salvation, all that, yeah, they're going to be saved for a purpose, for sure. I got no problem with that. Most I said they can't all be destroyed. We're not going to rebuild the walls. We're not going to be going out there laboring in the fields. We're not doing that no more. They got to be rewarded double. There shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number. Be not weary. So they're going to be part of that. They're going to be part of the number that receives the salvation. They have to come along. Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. See, that's the psychological and the spiritual mind frame that we got to get into. As much as we see the incoming Jacob's trouble, the stress management, the hell and the torment and things that's to come our way, the uncertainty. The Lord said you still got to be able to find a place for merry and abundance, because that's what's due for all those who remain faithful in these last days and times. Others are going to be coming down with heaviness and weeping and more sorrowful and all that. You got to find out which part are you going to be in? Where are we going to be at? What's our spirit going to be able to contain? If you find yourself in the ones weeping and sorrowful, then you probably going to know that shit, judgment is coming to me in my household. Because I haven't been doing everything I need to do. I haven't been, holding it down like I need to. The ones that's merry and have abundance, those are the faithful. Those are the ones who, went 10 toes down with the Lord. Verse 28, the heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Lord. So there's nothing they can be able to do against uh, the children of the Lord when it's all said and done. I know we're fighting against crazy odds right now. You know, you wonder, man, how Lord, man, how these people gonna wake up? Our people is dead. They don't want to hear the word of the Lord. They're so stiff-necked. They're rebellious. I mean, the weapons of our enemies is coming. You know, everything that we see going on, the prophecies, the judgments. We're trying to figure out how much longer we got. The Lord said, "Don't worry about it, because one thing's for sure, two things for certain: the heathen ain't gonna be able to do nothing to the righteous." So that's one burden you can separate from yourself. The biggest burden is making sure that we're in positions of repentance and found worthy of the salvation that the Lord promised to us. Micah 4:10 says, be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. There shalt thou be delivered. So it should be known that a vast majority of the children of Israel uh, have suffered oppression and these curses over here in Babylon, modern day Babylon, right? In the Western Hemisphere. Yes, we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, no question. But it's made known that a vast awakening and deliverance is going to come from Babylon. Now, you know, and this is why the concept of running away from Babylon or saying we got to flee, it doesn't really matter. Somebody decides to move and, you know, there's better opportunities economically, whatever the case may be, your reasoning for moving, all praise to the Most High. Go do your thing. But don't go with the mentality thinking, I don't want to be in America when this all goes down. Guess what? You might be, you know, under a hypnosis or something, man, because the Lord said, Babylon is where you're going to be delivered from. Why would you leave someplace where your deliverance is going to come from? Even still, you know, the scriptures say that um, the curse is going to follow you whithersoever you go. And judgment is coming upon the whole earth. And the scriptures also say to deliver your soul from Babylon. So it doesn't matter. You can leave Babylon and still be wicked somewhere else. I've known the brothers who have left, relocated to other countries. And sadly, they're no longer with us, spiritually or physically. And that's just, you know, how the Most High, you know, casted their lots for whatever reason. But the Lord said that deliverance is going to be here. So if you're stuck here, don't fret. The Lord said that your deliverance is going to come from here. So we know that, you know, the America's destined for missiles and for fervent heat and flames and all that other stuff. But remember, the Lord said that deliverance is going to come to the righteous, and there's nothing that the heathen can do about it. We just want to do the work to make sure that we're being found worthy, that our ticket is punched by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua, and that we can get up out of here. Right? Now it says, there, Yahweh shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemy. So obviously, we're going to be in our captivity, man. We're amongst our enemies. You're not amongst friends here. We got to be redeemed from the hand of our enemies, man. You know, and I know I've had the mentality. I thought about it as well. I'm homesteading. I'm going off grid. I'm getting away. I'm sick of working for Esau, man. My enemy. You were still in the land of your enemies, the land of your captives. You're still subject to payments. You're still subject to all that other good stuff, man. We have to be fully redeemed and got up out of this place. That's it. That's what the prophecy say. That's what the judgment says. So however you decide to maintain to get to that particular point, it's all good. If you decide, man, I'm getting up out of here, man, I'm going to the mountains of Jamaica. I'm going back to Ghana. I'm going to Accra. I'm going to, you know, Mozambique. What? Okay, cool. So I'm going to Puerto Rico. All right. No problem. I'm going to the backwoods of Arkansas. I'm going off grid. Okay. Fair enough. However, the Lord said that in order to be redeemed, you still have to be in the hand of your enemies. So they're still going to have some sort of hold, some sort of control or grasp on us in order for us to be redeemed. We're not going to save ourselves. Let's just be clear about that. You take away the glory from Yahweh Shai if you're saying, "Well, I've already been saved. I'm good. I did what I need to do. I ain't stressing." Okay. If you believe that that's freedom, if you believe that that's what it is, if not, then hold tight. All right. Let's see what's on the docket. Let's see what's on the docket. All right. So I said earlier, man, let's look at the actual article. Doomsday believers no longer as fringe. What does that mean? I mean, it's no longer like conspiracy. It's no longer, you're scared to even speak out and say, yeah, we're in the last day, man. This ain't looking good, man. I don't like how things are looking for America. And now it's becoming more commonplace for people to be in agreement with that thought. All praise to the Most High, because guess what? We've been saying that for who knows how long. Long as you've been in the truth, I've been in the truth. That's been the doctrine. That's been the understanding that Babylon the Great has to fall. Babylon the Great is going to meet it untimely demise. Judgment is going to happen to this place. Children of Israel's got to be redeemed from it, right? And now it's becoming, whether they believe that's the reason or not, for whatever reason, people are saying that, listen, yeah, the way we're going is going to be over with. You can blame it on the Democrats. You can talk about it's the Republicans. You can talk about MAGA, whatever. Doesn't even matter. The cause of the demise is the Most High by our standards, all praises. The rest, they can draw their own conclusions, because guess what? Psalms 147, 19 and 20 says that when it comes to his word, he have not dealt so with any nation. So they're scrambling, trying to figure out what's the reason. You see with the Doomsday Clock, they're talking about, it could be because of climate change. It could be because of nuclear warfare. It could be because of economic collapse. And either way, it's all biblical when it's all said and done. Between 29 and 39% of Americans believe that they are currently living in the end times. That is not a fringe position held by a handful of doomsday cults. Oh, no. It cuts across evangelical congregations, climate activist circles, Silicon Valley boardrooms, and rural prepper communities alike. According to a new study, it may be one of the most consequential and least examined forces in how the public responds to the biggest threats facing the planet. Psychologists at the University of British Columbia and University of California, Irvine, surveyed more than 1,400 religiously diverse Americans and found that apocalyptic thinking is neither a fringe preoccupation nor a purely spiritual abstraction. It is a measurably psychological force, and the specific flavor of someone's end-of-world belief predicts how they perceive and respond to threats like climate change, nuclear war, economic collapse, artificial intelligence with surprising consistency. So congratulations, Israelites. You're no longer considered a crazy cult. The mainstream thought processes of people are now looking our way, saying, "Oh yeah, those guys aren't as crazy as we thought." Oh yeah, all that talk about those guys, end time guys talking on the crazy corners, looking like Power Rangers and genies and pirates and all that. Yeah, those guys are crazy. You go watch them in Times Square. Go watch them in Hollywood. Go watch them at Venice Beach. They're a great sideshow. They're hilarious. And now it's those guys actually are the people. Oh yeah, those guys actually are onto something. Yeah, I think we might want to listen. Oh yeah. Okay, so those numbers, best believe, they're going to continue climbing as we see more judgment and more faltering through the system of America. The spirit of America is already broken. I mean, everybody can kind of see that already. The spirit of America is broken. Confidence in America is broken. The nations are now looking at America like a joke. Ain't nobody really tripping off of the threats of America. Trump is trying to stick his chest out as much as he can, trying to ignite the pride of America still, but it's not working. It's not working. Okay. Look at this. Exclusive. U.S. waives military reinforcements as Iran war enters a possible new phase. Remember when this started? What was it? January 28th or, early February? And JD Vance says, this is going to be really quick. Don't worry. It's not going to be some long drawn out war. They said there was going to be no boots on the ground. They were going to stick with drone warfare, missiles, bombs. Nobody's got to get their hands dirty. Now, all of a sudden, that's completely changed. Last week, we seen the deployment of 5,000 Marines getting sent out. I forgot it was either 82nd or 92nd Airborne from the Air Force. They got, sent out and deployed. Now they're heightening awareness of ground troops being there. We what was it, last week? I had an article that Iran had hit up a couple of British soldiers that was on the ground. I think they was in Cyprus, right? So troops was already on the ground, man. They're out here lying, covering up, saying, "Oh no, we're thinking about it." The deployments is already being done, man. President Donald Trump's administration is considering deploying thousands of U.S. troops to reinforce its operation in the Middle East as the U.S. military prepares for possible next steps. I thought it was almost over with. He's jumped out a couple times saying, "Yeah, didn't he just say that 2 weeks ago?" Yeah, it's pretty much over. We've done everything that we need to do. We're going to slow down now. We killed all their leadership. We destroyed all their um, uh, we destroyed all their weapon stockpiles. They pretty much don't have nothing left. He said that a couple weeks ago. What he's doing is what this dude is slick. He says this stuff because he sees the effects that it has on the economy. The stock markets and all the world and global markets rest on the word coming from Pharaoh, Trump. If he says we're getting ready to slow down, it's almost over with, the markets react and say, okay, cool, that means the oil prices are going to drop this, that, and third. We can reinvest in this. Let's get the markets booming back. And then after a week or two, and it doesn't go that well, all the little rich Edomites, man, they get all their money off the top, sell, buy, do what they need to do, and keep it going. It's this dog whistle code word for the financial banks and the billionaire class to shake and move their money around, but it ain't going nowhere. He just recently said he's thinking about slowing down. He doesn't dictate the policy of how this thing is going down, man. You done killed this man's mama, his daddy. You didn't bombs multiple schools, kids got put to death. You didn't cut off their sanctioned. Well, we got to talk about that in a minute. They've been sanctioned for years, but the economic collapse. You've incited sedition and riots within their country, and you think just because you say, "Okay, I'm done," they're going to be like, "Oh, okay, good. Damn, I'm glad you stopped bombing us. I'm glad you raised up off of us. Have a nice day. It was good seeing you guys again. Come back and visit anytime." You think that's just going to end it that way? Unbelievable. The deployments could help provide Trump with additional options as he weighs expanding U.S. operations with the Iran war well within the third week. Those options include securing safe passage for oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, a mission that will be accomplished primarily through air and naval forces, the sources said, but securing the strait could also mean deploying U.S. troops to Iran's shoreline, said four sources, including two U.S. officials. So they're battling over the Strait of Hormuz currently right now, and how it's always been. Iran has control of that. This is why your gas. Listen, I don't even want to talk about the gas prices, man. I might get sick. You seen last week when I showed you downtown. What was it? Some places was already down there $8. It's almost common right now, especially in places that got a little money. $6+ commonly. The cheapest right now is about $5.79, $5.89 for Supreme, about $5.50 for regular in California. That's at your cheap gas stations. You go to 76 Chevron, forget about it. Energy prices going up, food prices going to go up, all because of shipping, trading, the Some tariffs, all that. Forget about all of that. The cost of the oil barrels is going up. Now, Trump knows that this has now become an economic warfare. That's supposedly his area of expertise. But he's losing this one badly right now. Remember, short-term pain for long-term gain. Remember that whole mantra they was putting out there last week? And there's more of that. Hold on, we're gonna see in a minute. The Trump administration has also discussed options sending ground forces to Iran's Karg Island, the hub of 90% of Iran's oil exports. The three people familiar with the matter, and one of the officials said, such an operation will be very risky. Iran has the ability to reach the island with missiles and drones. Yeah, play if you want to. Play if you want to. Trump officials privately fear Iran war will grind on through September as 200 troops are injured. So the numbers is coming out. Now they're talking about, oh, it's going to go past September. They even talking to go to December. If they said if it goes to December, oil prices could shoot up to $160 a barrel to $200 a barrel. Right now, it's at like anywhere between, I think, 90. Hold on. I ain't even got to tell you. We could look. What's it per barrel right now? Let's see. Crude oil. So you're at $98 for here, 112 in Europe, right? So imagine what it is if it gets up to 160, $200 within the next 6 months. You think gas is expensive now? You think food is expensive now? You think hospital care and all of that relies on the energy sourcings is bad now, especially for other countries who are relying upon these things. I mean, look at Cuba. Cuba is pretty much a wasteland, and that's something else we'll talk about as we continue on. As they've been talking about, oh, it's not that, it'll be fast, man. Short term pain, long term gain. Now all of a sudden it's September. That's more than short term pain, especially when reports are coming out that a record number of people are tapping into their 401k just to get by. See, the check. Israelites, man, we've been living that situation for a long time. But now when it comes to those who've been living 6-figure incomes and all that, now they're realizing what it's like to be living like us. It's a problem. Trump has given another timing update on the U.S.-Iran war as the oil tanker traffic in the Strait of Hormuz has come to a standstill. Though some are warning the war could last most of the year. Yeah, best believe. They're talking about most of the year. How about years? That's what they keep talking about. Oh, there's no forever war. But meanwhile, Pete Hegseth and Trump are running around talking about Trump saying, I won't get bored of this. We've got endless weapons. This can go on for as long as we need to. They ain't talking about that quick talk no more. Now it's talking about how long, who can last the longest. Iran's supreme leader says the U.S. and Israel must be brought to their knees and accept defeat before any peace deal can be agreed. So it doesn't sound like they're willing to concede at all, unless it's through the U.S. and Israel bowing down and saying, "You're our new master. You won, and we accept defeat." Do you think America, in its pride in Israel, is in particular, the small hat GMO astroturf fakes over there, you think they're going to bow down and say, okay, we're going to finally bow down and submit ourselves to Islam? We're going to bow down to our mortal enemy. You think they're going to do that? You think America's going to finally say, you know what, we finally took an L? Even though they've had questionable L's from Afghanistan to, Vietnam, etc. People, many people say that if America didn't lose, they got their butts whooped. In comparison to, the military strategy and the technology and the weapons that their opponents had, That's not one to glory about, either one. But here we see. So with America's history, and the small has history, they're not gonna bow down. So does that mean that this thing is gonna continue on past September? You damn right. Unless somebody does something extreme. And you know what the extremes are. The small hats call it the Samson option. America calls it another day at the office. That is what the word NUKE comes into play. That's the only way that they're going to listen. Nobody's going to bow down. Nobody's going to concede. So let's stop even talking about. Oh, this will be over soon. Don't worry. Trump's top counterintelligence official quits in protest over Iran, and he issues a blistering statement claiming Israel dragged U.S. into the war. Tell us something we don't know. Joseph Kent, he decides to come out and come clean. The spy boss quits. Counterintelligence official, right? This shows you the fraction of America, man. How many people have quit on Trump since he's been in office? How many people has he fired? He just fired Kristi Noem, the head of ICE. Joseph Kent, this guy's the head of counterintelligence. He gets out the game. Elon Musk, he left. There's been constant firing, people quitting. This thing is they're a mess over there, man. The MAGA hats, man, they're all splintered and jacked up. Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, what's the name? Tucker Carlson, all these guys, man. They all left the plantation, man. They took off they took off the red MAGA hats and everything else. All the little Manchurian candidates, man, they starting to wake up now. They all like, oh, we've been under hypnosis, man. What happened? We was lied to. Yeah, okay, now you see. So he states the obvious. He says Iran posed no imminent threat and the war was started due to pressure from Israel and the powerful American lobby. That's been the narrative for a long time, but for whatever reason, the rest of those who are under hypnosis, under the MAGA hypnosis, man, they're all saying, no, Iran was building a nuke. They were going to try to destroy us. It's very, I said it before. Same scenario with baby Bush, George Bush Jr., when he was talking about weapons of mass destruction in Afghanistan. And you see how long that war played out, over 20 years. Off of a lie. Strap up, because this thing's going the same way. Only difference is with the New World Order and everything that's going on, they've got a calculation for 2030 for everything to be changed and put in order. So you're talking 4 years from now. They ain't trying to go a whole nother 20 years. So how much are they going to be ratcheting up the agenda in that time? Now, if IQAhmath even said the time's got to be cut short for the elect's sake, then think about it. They ain't gonna be worrying about, oh, we got another 20 years. They already extended Agenda 21 to Agenda 30. So they already pushed that back another 9 years. Because they had more building to do, more plotting and planning to do, more agendas to set, more legislations to pass, more lies to establish, perfecting AI. Now they got a good rhythm going. They're not going to slow down, man. They trying to hit 2030 for all of their agendas in order. And he's only got another 2 years left in his reign of terror right now. Can you imagine that? I mean, technically he's a year and 3 months in office? Really 2 months, because he got sworn in 2025 January 20th. And today is the 21st. So yeah, technically a year and 3 months. And look how much chaos, look how much confusion that he's caused. And he's got 4 years. At this point right now, they even talking about he doesn't even give a damn about the the midterm elections in November. He's already trying to lock that down with voter registration laws and already, throwing out there, they stole it from me in 2020. I'm changing the laws about voting so I don't lose again. So he's already looking at trying to rig that up in November. Who knows at what stage this war is going to go down, where he might have to crack down on some executive order and say, look, voting is out. We ain't got time to vote right now. We're in the middle of a war, man. We're getting our butts handed to us. We're not voting on nothing. We're postponing the vote. Who knows, man? Everything is on the table for these guys, man. If they're willing to hide, conceal, and redact them Epstein files to cover up their wickedness and their evils, man, they're willing to do anything. Let's continue. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. This is Jeremiah 51 and 30. So, when we see this guy, Joseph Ken, these guys bowing out and getting out the way, that's all prophesied, man. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They become as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. So when they say they burned her dwelling places, her bars are broken, man, these guys have now opened up the doors for scrutiny, for examination, for invasion. Some of them return. Remember that one cat, man, that just did that. He drove from Seattle, Washington to DC. That popped the two reserve officers in DC. He was military. He was I think they said he was working for the CIA as an asset over in the Middle East before he came over here, and his brother's in the military. See, this is what ends up happening when you're talking about the threat of sleeper cells and all of that. You remember last week, two people, masked men, got away with 4 drones off a military base. You saw the retired Marine that got roughed up in the courthouse, saying I'm not going to die for Israel and all that. And they broke his arm. Yeah, they're burning down the dwelling places and the bars are being broken, man. They're opening up the stages for America to be invaded and get destroyed. And they're forbearing the fight. They're saying, man, this ain't our fight. How many of our people is out here saying, I mean, not our people, but how many people in America saying this ain't our fight? Why are we even doing this? Ex-militaries out there on the streets, man, protesting against ICE. They're jumping out there, telling them that they've broken their oaths and who are these guys? Like this is all what's happening right now within Babylon, man. Complete division, complete destruction, complete confusion. And we're seeing them forbearing the fight, turning their back on the military now. Now look at this. WHO officials admit they're preparing for possible nuclear weapon use in Iran. Now, if the WHO, the World Health Organization, is saying, what inside information are they getting for them to start saying we got to prepare for possible nukes being used over there, man? We're getting where we're hearing what could possibly go down, and we got to start even thinking on those terms. Years ago, they wouldn't have been thinking about this. Nobody was talking about nukes being used in the Afghan war. I don't remember them talking about it during Desert Storm. I don't remember them talking about it in, any other of these particular military operations. It's more heavily now. If they were talking about it back then, I don't recall. But I know it's more heavy now. It's more publicized now. Officials at the World Health Organization have admitted that they are preparing for a worst-case scenario, nuclear threat, if the U.S.-Israeli war Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Y'all can hear me? Throw a 7 in the chat for me. Let me know. The battery on my mic went out. If I'm coming in, let me know. All right, it's better now. I got 1 7, couple 7s in the house. All right. Cool. All right, all praises. Yeah, the other little remote mic I had went out. Yeah, I don't know what happens when I share my screen, y'all. My main screen freezes. It is what it is. Don't look at me. Look at the article. look at the screen. All right, let's get back. Salaki. We'll get back to it. Okay, so back on schedule. So now, if the World Health Organization is saying they're preparing for a worst case scenario, which means nukes being used, what does that mean prophetically? I mean, we see and understand and know where this is going. This is why you're seeing 39%, and that number is rising, of America saying this could be it. Hanan Balki, WHO Regional Director for the Eastern Mediterranean, said that the staff remain, quote, vigilant for a nuclear incident following President Trump's decision to bomb Iran in the joint campaign with Israel. The worst case scenario is a nuclear incident, and that's something that worries us the most. As much as we prepare, there's nothing that can prevent the harm that will come the region's way and globally if this eventually happens, and the consequences are going to last for decades. Yeah. But notice what he said. He said, there's nothing they can do about it. Well, that's a fact. That's Most High said that. I want to read that in 2 Peter. And we're going to read verse 7. It says, but 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 7, but the heaven and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. So yeah, there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing when the Lord's, we read that in 2 Ezra 16, where it says the mighty man with the bow, when the Most High pull back that bow and the arrow gets shot forth, who can turn it back? Nobody. Even the World Health Organization officials are saying that this is serious and nothing we can do about this. And the fallout long term is going to be hell. Reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. All right. I will read this. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. And that's what he wants. He wants us to come to repentance. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. That great noise is going to come through bombs, explosions, earthquakes. When them bombs hit, it is like a great earthquake. Shock waves, earth gets to moving, buildings collapse. And that's just when those within the radius of the bombs. That's not even those they actually get hit. With the great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Yeah, the next form of judgment is going to come via fervent heat. Thermonuclear destruction, right? The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. World Health Organization sees it. I hope we do. Look at this.
When I look out here across the opening to the Strait of Hormuz, especially at nighttime when they have their lights on, I see dozens.
See, because now I'm playing this video because America will sit back. You leave it to Trump and them. They're saying we're winning the war. It's just nothing, but they've got nothing going on over there. We've taken out their leaders. The missile systems. They're pretty much collapsing and confused over there. There's nothing going on. Then how are they still able to control the Strait of Hormuz and say who can come in, who can't go in? They're controlling the flow of oil. They're controlling the economic situation with this whole war. I mean, if they were just that handicapped, that weak, and didn't have the power of position, well, what are we talking about? Well, let's let AP say what's going on.
Across the opening to the Strait of Hormuz, especially at nighttime when they have their lights on, I see dozens of ships waiting for what they hope would be a safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. There might be over 100 ships waiting here, and on the other side, inside the Persian Gulf, hundreds of ships are waiting to somehow make their way through what has become a very perilous passage through the Strait of Hormuz. All of this brought about by Iranian threats that they would attack any ship that is in any way affiliated with the United States or Israel or any of its allies. But maritime and trade data platforms do show that some ships get through. 89 ships altogether since the start of the war have got through the Strait of Hormuz. So who does get through? Well, first of all, out of those 89 ships, 1/5 are affiliated with Iran. There are also ships that are affiliated with India and Pakistan that have managed to make their way during wartime through the Strait of Hormuz. And other ships have been heading to China. But essentially, the situation that all of these ships are facing is that Iran right now is deciding who gets through the Strait of Hormuz safely and who gets threatened with possible attacks.
So who's in control again? It's Iran is controlling that Strait of Hormuz, man. That's why Trump is so desperate over there, man. He tried to bomb Karg Island, man. He's trying to get over there, but he can't mess around over there. He cannot mess around over there. That's why they said, well, maybe we'll get some troops down over there. And they said, man, that's like a suicide mission for them because Iran has access to missiles, drone strikes. They got that whole Strait of Hormuz locked down. And that's a valuable port, import, export, oil transportation, energy, you name it, all comes through there. All a global need for many. You seen what was it, a week or two ago when I talked about the import needs of Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Middle Eastern countries because of the land conditions, that they can't be self-sufficient over there, that they need 90+% of their food supplies and life necessities to be imported. That gets cut off, man, it's over with. That's why Iran is like, we'll decide who we want to help and who we're not going to help. Let's go.
New tonight, the U.S. has paused sanctions on Iranian oil stranded on...
Whoa. Come on, slow down, brother. You said that kind of fast. That's important.
The U.S. has paused sanctions on Iranian oil stranded...
Oh, I know I stopped it again, y'all. Bear with me. Did you hear what he said? The U.S. paused sanctions on Iranian oil. Who's bowing down and who isn't? If they said, if Iran has had sanctions on them for years on end, remember that video we played a few weeks ago when he was talking about Obama and he said that we're getting ready to go into he's going to have us in endless, meaningless war in Iran. People are going to die because he's weak and doesn't know how to negotiate. And all that. He was with him big time about Obama, but meanwhile, it's him. He's the one who can negotiate, can't get things done. Now he's got to backtrack and he's got to lift sanctions so that Iran can actually get their oil flowing and help their economy. Same way with Russia. They put sanctions on them, man, and then they had to double back and say, well, you know what, lift the sanctions off, man. Putin, go ahead and slang your oil, man. Make your money because the world is suffering and so are we. This is why you see the mystique. Look, let's get good old Obadiah into the mix. Good old Obadiah in the mix. The vision of Obadiah, verse 1, thus saith Yahweh the power, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. So there's going to be nations of heathens that rise up against Edom for battle. See, this is what's so crazy. The Israelites We're the ones who constantly call him out for his evils, his wickedness, identify him, but low key, the heathen are going to be the ones who rise up and face him in battle. But yeah, the Lord said we're going to be his battle axe and weapons of war. Some of the elect of Israel are going to be able to execute judgment and vengeance upon their enemies. However, it's going to be set off with the heathen getting after. So the heathen, the ones got the real problem with Edom, just as much as Israel is, but we're just the ones speaking about it. But we're labeled a hate group and everything else, right? The Lord said, the heathen is going to rise up against Edom. This is why he's been, if we're looking at through the spirit and you're looking at Cain and his mark, where it said that he a fugitive and a vagabond is going to be. A fugitive is someone who's on the run for crimes that hasn't faced justice yet. That spirit is passed along to Esau, Edom, right? And the chickens are coming home to roost. So it says, arising and let us rise up against her in battle. Her, notice that, because why? It's the daughter of Babylon. That's who's controlling Babylon or Edom. Okay, because Edom is not a female, right? Go to Genesis 36, Genesis 25, all of that gives us that understanding. This is all metaphorical speech when we're talking about an entity. The mother of harlots, Revelation 17, it's all being ran by Edom. All that lines up, right? Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Yeah, because even though they're amongst the heathen, they are a heathen nation as well. They are the most despised. They're the ones that's the lowly of all the rest of the nations. The pride of thy heart have deceived thee. We're winning the war. Yeah, we killed all we killed all their leadership. We decimated their missile systems. They're the ones bombing the schools, the Tomahawk missiles, and he just continually lies and puffs himself out. Nobody's got a greater military than America. We're the baddest and the biggest and the best. And the Lord said all of that is pride that has deceived him. Because as much as he's running around here telling the public, hey, we're running the show, we got everything under control, relax. I see they got to bow down and lift the sanctions so Iran can sell their oil. They're financially benefiting from this. Russia is. America's over here Pete Hegseth just got through begging Congress to pass another $200 billion deal so that they can have some more money to go buy more weapons because they're running low. So who's winning what again? Who's got the leverage? Okay. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Did y'all hear about that one? Just in case you didn't know. The rest of the heathen. Okay, just real quick. Hegg says, I popping $200 billion ask for Iran war sparks outcry from Democrats. Oh, you need to re-up? You need some more money? Look at it. It takes money to kill bad guys. They're still running with that narrative, man. These guys are amazing. Amazing. How are you already running back for a re-up on money? And you've only been in the war for a month. Iran is not sitting back here scrambling. They're getting money. They're getting paid from the war, thanks to America. Who's winning again? All right, I'll leave it alone. Unbelievable. So
tonight, the U.S. has paused sanctions on Iranian oil stranded on tankers at sea until mid-April. This comes as the administration tries to curb soaring oil prices and gas prices here at home. Luis Fernandez is in the Live Center following these developments. Luis?
Yeah, Gerald, let's go ahead and give you the new now next for the war on Iran. We're going to go ahead and start with new. Early Saturday morning in that part of the world, the Israeli military strikes have been seen in Beirut's southern suburbs. We're talking smoke and loud explosions. No casualties at the moment, but important to remember, Beirut is the capital city of Lebanon. More than 1,000 people have been killed in Lebanon at this point, and more than 1 million have been displaced. Looking at the now, going to those sanctions being lifted, this is specifically on Iranian oil that is at sea, that is stranded at sea, as all this is going on with the Strait of Hormuz and everything everything. So that is a 30-day sanction lift. Remember, the Trump administration is looking for ways to curb oil prices. They've also lifted some 30-day sanctions on some Russian oil as well. Of course, there are some limits to that if someone is selling to North Korea or Cuba. And finally, a note from CEO of United Airlines, Scott Kirby. He says that he is preparing for oil to reach $175 a barrel. That is a worst-case scenario.
Did you hear that? 175 per barrel, worst-case scenario. And we're already struggling right now. Let me change this up because I don't even want my picture on here as far as me being frozen. So y'all can just look at the whole thing. $175 a barrel. He said that's worst case scenario. And we're struggling right now.
Some Russian oil as well.
We're struggling right now at $98, $100. Buckle up. Pray, fast, stay in the spirit because the ride's gonna get rough, y'all.
Of course, there are some limits to that if someone is selling to North Korea or Cuba. And finally, a note from CEO of United Airlines, Scott Kirby. He says that he is preparing for oil to reach $175 a barrel. That is a worst-case scenario. He mentioned in a message to employees on Friday, they are also preparing for oil not to return to $100 a barrel or less until the end of next year.
End of next year. So that should let you know that even if nothing changes, I'm saying the increase in oil price and per barrel oil price, they're saying it won't get back under $100 until next year. So it's going to be like this for a while. Multiple waves of unauthorized drones recently spotted over strategic U.S. Air Force base. So, the threat of the drones, they've been talking about a West Coast, FBI putting out West Coast authorities saying that it could be a drone attack on the West Coast now. I'm not putting too much into that, but it's there. Why not report on it? A drone sighting that temporarily raised alarms at one of the United States Air Force's largest and most strategic airfields earlier this month was more extensive and potentially more dangerous than the first reported, according to a confidential internal briefing document viewed by ABC News. So the rise of drone warfare. Probably the next time I teach, man, I'm gonna look at. We're going to maybe Revelation 9 because from my research and understanding, when you hear about the locusts, I see that as the drone warfare. They also have a weapon called the locust laser. So there's a lot of different things that I want to focus in on. So I'm gonna touch on that maybe, Lord willing, in the future because it's all relevant to what's going on right now. But yeah, when you hear about the locusts and the drone warfare and all of that, that's the way modern warfare is getting played out right now. All right. Look at it. Donald Trump warns NATO faces very bad future if allies fail to help the U.S. and Iran. Well, he found out the hard way, man. He's asking them to help them in the Strait of Hormuz. He's asking his NATO allies, hey, we need help over here. And they're like, man, look, you started this. Now that you went too deep, you're asking for help. This is how bad it is. I mean, if you just look at the terms, the U.S. and Israel jumped Iran solo, 2 against 1. Iran, you're putting out there, Iran's getting beat, Iran's this, Iran getting whipped up, the leadership's dead, we're doing this, that. But meanwhile, you're going back, you're telling Iran, here, give me a break. Let's pause for a minute. While you're at it, we'll lift the sanctions on your oil so you can make some money. Putin came out and told them, threatened the oil supplies going to Europe and everything. He told, hey, Vladdy, baby, calm down. All right, listen, we'll lift the sanctions for you too. Just don't sell it to North Korea. Don't sell it to Cuba. Get your money. Doesn't sound like somebody who's winning with an advantage. Then, after that, he goes and begs for more help from NATO and says, y'all join in and help. Don't just stand there and watch. Does that sound like somebody who's actually winning? How are you jumping Iran and then you asking for more help? I thought y'all was the big bad America. This is why you see When the Lord said, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Clip that. Donald Trump warns NATO faces very bad future if allies fail to help. So he still has the pride and the arrogancy to threaten NATO. And you found out NATO said, man, get up out of here, man. That's not our war. You started this, finish it then. Don't ask us to help you in this. Now, look what his response was. After NATO turned him down, I know I didn't read that article, but trust me, that's what they said. Many of y'all have already noticed as well that NATO said they wasn't with it. Now, look here. He says, because of the fact that we have had such military success, there he goes lying. We no longer, quote, need or desire the NATO countries' assistance. Now, since when? We no longer need or desire. You just got to do threatening them, telling them, if you don't help us, it's going to be bad for you. And NATO sitting there looking like, damn, all this time we thought America was going to be the biggest, baddest bully on the block, and they teamed up and couldn't take down Iran. And now they asking us to help. No, we don't want no parts of that embarrassment, man. Get up out of here. And now they said, well, I don't need you anyway. This is the childlike mentality of this guy, man. Well, I don't need you anyway. Get out of here. We no longer need or desire the NATO countries' assistance. We never did. That's a lie. You asked for it, and now you're going to sit back and double back and lie? Likewise, Japan, Australia, or South Korea. So now he's cutting off all of his allies in a tantrum because he didn't get what he wanted. What's Japan got to do with it? What's Australia got to do with it? What's South Korea got to do with it? South Korea is not even part of NATO, to my knowledge, and what they catching strays. All allies, and now he's saying, F everybody. If it's us in the small hats, then we're just going to go out together. And you will. In fact, speaking as President of the United States of America, by far the most powerful country anywhere in the world, in caps, we do not need the help of anyone. Really? Oh, okay. Well, here we go. Daniel 2:41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron. So when you get into Daniel chapter 2, you see, which I guess I'll go into it another time, but there's a statue and it's got a head of gold, a chest of brass, legs of iron, I believe. I can't remember it all off the top of my head. Matter of fact, for time's sake, I'm not going to go fully into it, but many of y'all may have seen or heard, or maybe got a little bit of grasp of understanding regarding the kingdoms of Daniel, chapter 2. And it's mirroring Daniel, the 7th chapter, okay? Regarding the Babylonian rule, the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks, and then finally dealing with the kingdom of Rome, right? But now when you're looking at Rome, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the head of gold, arms of silver, and the belly of brass, legs of iron. And it's going into Babylon, Persians and the Medes, Greeks, and then ultimately Rome. Now, below the legs of iron are the feet. Now, it's saying that the feet are part iron and part clay. Now, the clay is the nations, or NATO, or the 10 horns. Because remember, we all got 10 toes, or most of us have 10 toes. That's part of the understanding regarding this potter's clay. It's a conglomeration between the iron, which is, now the representation of America, because America comes from Rome, which was the legs of iron. The legs extend down to the feet, and the toes are made of both iron and clay. But what happens with each toe? Each toe is divided. This is why when we read in, and we've covered this before, but let's look at it again. Remember, stammering lips, Revelation 17. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her own flesh and burn her with fire. The 10 horns, remember up here, verse 12, are what? 10 kings. So each one is representations of kingdoms. This is the EEC, the European Economic Community, the EU, or the military arm of NATO. It's all the conglomerate representing these 10 horns, right? We talked about that a number of different times. I got a lesson about Revelation 17. If you haven't seen it, double back and go watch it. And it gives more detail about these 10 kings. But this also parallels with Daniel chapter 2 regarding the toes. That's part iron and part clay, because the iron represents Rome, which is represents the extension of Rome's rule into America. So it's America in combination with the clay, which is these 10 horns, or the 10 kings, or the EU and NATO. They're supposed to be working together. However, they're divided. Verse 12, we'll read it. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as of yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So each one had a certain dispensation of power, rulership, influence within the world, but never ruled as a complete dominant kingdom. They're all recognized as leaders. However, none are kings or have a dominant rulership kingdom, as did Babylon, Persia, Medes, Greeks, or Rome. They all have stints, but never ruled as a kingdom as such, right? Now they're supposed to be trying to get together. But we see in Daniel 2, it said that they're going to be divided. Let's go back over here. Daniel 2, where are we at? 41. Okay, so verse 41, it says, whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, right? The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay. So when you see this, the kingdom's going to be divided. Why? Because we're seeing right now, they're turning their back, just like when we read in, let's get back over there, Obadiah. Ah, shucks. America is going to be ultimately betrayed by those that they thought was in league with them. Verse 7. And where does it start at? Somebody was going to have to make somebody was going to have to break the bond between them and America and its allies. Trump is the one who's out here doing it the best. When Slow Biden was in office, man, he was bowing down doing whatever they said. Trump comes in, he's in complete rebellion. He's breaking free from the World Health Organization. He's already, went out and slandered the NATO and the EU. He's threatening to seize, Greenland, sanctioning Canada and these other nations. I mean, he's the one putting himself out there like the Don Roe doctrine and all that other stuff, man. He's the one saying, man, and just like he said, we don't need you or anybody. So what's going to end up happening? They're going to hate him and they're going to turn on him. All the men in our confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. What? They've been eating the bread of America. Remember, he forced all nations to drink of the wine of the wrath. What's the wine? The philosophies, the doctrines, the idolatry, the democracy, the fornication, the all manners of evil and wickedness that proceeds out of this place. They all drunken and said, this is pretty good. Maybe this is how we'll run our kingdoms. So they ate the bread. They received the understanding. They received the doctrine. They received the money. They received the wealth. But they laid a wound under it. Sabotage. Turn it back on them. Right? And it says there's none understanding in them. So when we see him running around saying all of this, this is all prophecy of this coming to pass. That they're going to be divided because they can't militarily, they got the strength of iron. Yeah, NATO's got 30 plus countries, many, well, I ain't gonna say many, but a vast, the top, whatever. I know you've got Israel got nukes, America's got nukes, France, I believe the UK. There's a number of different NATO partners that got nukes. They've got the military strength, if you're dealing with the global partnership, they run it. You got well over 30 countries, man, in cahoots together through all the particular articles of agreements, covenants that they got. They've got the strength of the military might and the technology. For as much as thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay. But however, let's go over here and we'll read verse 42. What ends up happening? And as the toes of the feet were part iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. So they're partly strong in one area. You know, they've got the technology, they got the military, they got all of that, but they're partly broken because why? They can't agree. They can't come together on the democracy, the politics, the pride, the arrogancy that comes along with it. They can't do it. And we see this man is running around here making sure that this prophecy stays solid. All right. So I'm gonna get back over here just for time's sake because I got a few more things we got to cover. But this, if you understand, is showing the divide that's going on. And even with Christ, when he said, man, if a kingdom be divided against itself, can't stand. This is all Edom's kingdom. This all goes back to Obadiah. And they're all divided. So even all those that he had weaned on the breast of the, the mother of harlots and all of it, they're all yanking away, spitting out that milk, saying, we don't want no more of this crap. And she's slapping them up, saying, well, I don't need you anyway. Get out. Leave. Look, Trump faces a coalition of the unwilling on Iran. Trump spent his first year back in power disparaging U.S. allies. Now he wants them to help America in the Iran war, and they are none too enthusiastic. Yeah. So they're not with it. From terrorists and insults, threatening to invade Greenland, Trump has rarely missed an opportunity in recent months to criticize America's partners. Yet now the 79-year-old Republican has said he expects the same allies to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, the oil traffic, and react angrily when they rebuffed him. It's an extraordinary demand, said Philip Gordon, the former national security advisor to President Kamala Harris, and now an academic at the Brookings Institute, to justify risking people's lives, not only for that operation, but for a president who has done nothing but insult and berate you for the last 15 months. That's probably a bridge too far. So there you have it. So much for that. Now, see, this is the foolishness that goes on, right? Trump briefed that Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is probably gay, and president has priceless reaction. So, bombs is dropping, bodies is dropping, kids are being bombed in schools and all this other stuff, man. They've got reports of him hanging out at his golf resort, doing all this foolishness. And then they run around here trolling with stories talking about the son of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is a sodomite. So they're putting that out there. So, of course, if you've got Orthodox Muslims, Sunni and Shia will both agree that being a sodomite is an abomination, man. So another form of propaganda, throw it out there to try to get the people to rebel. Well, guess what? He's a sodomite over there. First, he's not alive. Then he's alive, but he's injured and he's wounded. Then he's in a coma, and now he's a sodomite. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. They just continually on with the folly, with the propaganda. And this is what you call dirty politics, and trolling. And he's a master troll, for sure, when this all comes down. So I'm not gonna read too much into that, but I thought that was interesting. Look, Trump team applying pressure to the media. Tell the war story the way we see it. Short-term pain, long-term gain. This is why he had Larry Ellison buy up Warner Brothers, and they're trying to control the media. He says, look, you tell everybody what we want you to say. Mockingbird media at its finest. What happened to freedom of the press? That's out of there. So that should let you know, because under that First Amendment, that is the freedom of speech, freedom of press. Although you or I may not be CNN, ABC, whatever news outlet, Newsmax, they all are operating under the same amendment that I am, you are, if you're speaking his word. So the First Amendment now is being compromised, especially under that NSPM 7, where now they're telling the news, you got to tell it by according to the government narrative, you know. And all of that, I agree with you. There's a lot of Ishmael sodomites, man, and PDF files. That's a fact. And they be in a bestiality. They doing it all. But that's neither here nor there. The bigger thing is, look, they're telling the news, tell it the way we see it. Through lectures, scoldings, and outright threats, President Donald Trump and his aides are ratcheting up the pressure on journalists to cover the war in the Middle East the way the administration wants. Republican president has fumed on social media about stories he doesn't like and berated a reporter on Air Force One. The government's top media regulator had warned that broadcasters risking their licensing if they don't stay away from, quote, fake news. Trump and his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, have questioned the patriotism. You got to be a patriot if you're going to be in this media, of news outlets because of their reporting. Trump has complained about war coverage in specific and general ways. In a social media post, he said news reporters exaggerated the damage to planes that were attacked by Iran at an airport in Saudi Arabia. He attacked, quote, corrupt media outlets for falling for AI-generated false reports created by Iran, and said the media hates to report how well the U.S. military has performed. So he's saying, I guess, the drawings of the military planes that America said that they bombed, oh, don't report on that. We don't want to be embarrassed, right? So the control of the media, remember the Ministry of Truth, 1984, man, this is the type of things that they're trying to put out there. Look at this, Ecclesiastes 19:7. This is a lesson not only in the spirit of moral conduct, but also just looking at how people can be controlled. Ecclesiasticus 19:7. Rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt never fear the word. So in other words, man, you don't go out and you repeat things that's been told to you. So in other words, spreading gossip, rumors, tale bearing, those are all things that violate the laws of the Most High. That's on the law level of what we're understanding, right? But on a moral standard, if you was a reporter with integrity and somebody came and knocked on you and said, listen, we don't want you, I know you got freedom of speech and all that, man, but do us a favor, man. On behalf of your patriotism for America, we need you to go ahead and start reporting like this. We want to proofread all of your stories before they go out. We're going to start, providing you with teleprompter answers and speeches. Would you, anybody with some moral integrity would probably be like, no, man, I got freedom of speech. I'm reporting as I see it. The people are owed the truth. So I'm not going to rehearse what's been told to me. You say it like this, you say, and the Lord said, man, you're going to be fine. You're not going to fare never the worst, right? So on the surface level and on the law level, yeah, we don't go rehearsing. Somebody tell you something, man, you don't go keep running off and telling everybody else. You'll be okay. But they're a lot of the press is willing to rehearse what they've seen. You saw the multiple videos last week about the short-term pain, long-term gain, and from CNN and other news outlets, all running with the same narrative. So it's all controlled. But
a federal judge struck down the Pentagon's new policy limiting access for members of the press. The judge says the policy violates the First and Fifth Amendments of the Constitution. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth implemented the rule in October, requiring official authorization for reporters, even classified information. Many news organizations chose to leave the Pentagon instead.
So they've already been trying to control who can come in and who can't, what reporters they're allowing and what they can't. And the federal judge struck that down and said, man, you can't be discriminatory with who you let up in there, man. They got a right to the First Amendment and Fifth Amendment. So they've been trying to control the press and who can come in, who can say, and the narratives that get put out there for the longest. They can't stop trying to, control the lies. So there you have it. Now look at this. Do you know that he's assembling, trying to get a gold coin made after him? And this is the sketch art of what they're going to do. Liberty, 1776, 2026. But look below his frame. You see that? This is the see. This is him. Where he says he's gonna be like the Most High. He believes he is God, man. Isaiah 14 and 13 and 14. But thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So not only that, right? What we got? 2 Thessalonians, I think it's 2. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. Look at this. Now, we'll read 3 for context. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first. So the falling away first for the children of Israel, falling away from our first estate, which was to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and the righteousness of the Most High. Through that falling, we fell into the cursed conditions, the scattering, the diaspora, so forth and so on. So we're not going to have that day come until this happens. That's now happened. What was the next phase? That the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So this man of sin is going to be revealed. Surprise, it's the so-called white man Esau, right? Son of perdition, rebelliousness to all that's righteous. He doesn't want anything to do with, the righteousness of the Most High. Verse 4, why? Because what's he going to do? Who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God or a power or the Most High, or that is worshipped. So he exalts himself above anything that is of the Most High or that is worshipped. He wants to be worshipped. He wants to be adored. He wants to have the pride and the adoration of the people. So that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Look at the inscription that he wants on the gold coin that he's printing up with his face on it. In God we trust. And this is the insinuation is he's God. That's the messaging. And in like manner, trying to follow after the footsteps of his predecessors, as in Caesar. Remember in Matthew 22. And the tribute to Caesar. Verse 15, then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. So the Pharisees being insincere, all I was trying to do was catch up and trip up Yahushua. Verse 26, and they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true and teachest the way of the Most High in truth. Look at them calling him master, teacher, trying to act like they honored it. His teachings, his understanding, and trying to give him respect. Disingenuous. We know that thou art true and teachest the way of the Most High in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? But Yahushua perceived their wickedness and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Cut them. He knew what they was up to. Show me the tribute money, and they brought unto him a penny. And he said unto him, whose is this image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, unto the Most High the things that are the Most High. Point of the matter is your man Agent Orange is out here trying to act like he's the modern day Caesar. Need any more proof that America is modern day Rome? As he's looking to get the new. What other president, man, has popped up and said, while I'm in office, I want my image on another coin? All them coins was all made after all them dudes were dead. Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln, George Washington, they was all put to death. Benjamin Franklin, they was all out the picture. Now you see here, in office, he says, I want to be venerated while I'm here. Modern Caesar, there you go. Venezuela's opened its gold and rare earths to U.S. mining. Look, now they've completely got Venezuela under its thumb, man. So any more, doubters as to why they was over there, man? Oh, it's because they need a regime change, because of the drugs, because of, the people being oppressed. Oh, bad guy Maduro. They had a $500 million oil deal already. Now they got, Venezuela bowing down, opening up their gold deposits, letting America come in there and make deals and get money from them through the gold too. So let's anybody think it wasn't about that, think again. I think we're all pretty smart here. We know how that was, where this was going. They got this Stu's puppet over there. Help me out with her name again, Ashar. I know it's something. Kelsey, not Kelsey. No, something with a CY in her last name. But anyway, she's bowing down and she's letting America grape her and their resources over there, as we knew that's what it was about. 3,800 workers are on strike at one of the largest meatpacking plants in the U.S. So if we're concerned about where the economy is going, and how things is panning out, well, that's how things are going. Not only do we know that there's layoff galore happening, people in the TSA is striking over work conditions. UPS having major 30,000 people UPS getting laid off. Now you see 3,800 people in one of the more popular meatpacking plants is going on strike. I mean, America's in a whole lot of problems, man. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. We're going to read 3 and 4. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters' music shall be brought low. What is it talking about? So it's talking about when you're having economic and financial problems going on within the city. So it says, when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves. So there's going to be fear within the cities. There's going to be uncertainty within the cities. The grinders cease because they are few. What's that mean? That means there's going to be layoffs. The grinders are the workers ceasing because they're few. People are going to be getting laid off. People are going to be getting fired. Businesses are going to be closing. And those that look out the windows be darkened. Why? Because there's not going to be any opportunities out there. There's an article, man. I don't know if I might have it on here. We'll find out as we continue on. But they have an article talking about there was 0 job creations in the private sector within this last month. It's the first time that's ever happened. No jobs got created. Delcy Rodriguez, Kohath. There you go. Good looking out. Delcy Rodriguez. I knew it was C something. Good looking out. Verse 4, and the door shall be shut in the streets. Why? Businesses are going to be closing. Things shut down. I'm still seeing boarded up windows and doors from places that used to have businesses operation all over the city. When the sound of grinding is low, what's that mean? That means that businesses is going to be slowing down. That's the trend that's going on right now. Not a lot of jobs out there. We just, like I said, I think I got that article that said they had 0 jobs created in this new quarter. But they talking about, what they say, workflow is still good or something like that. We'll see it in a minute. But you can see here, right? Times of turmoil and trouble, man. Workers are now protesting because they're not getting fair wages. They're getting taken advantage of. Benefits ain't what they used to be. Look at this. About 3,800 workers at one of the nation's largest meatpacking plants went on strike Monday in Colorado, and what union representative said is the first walkout at a U.S. beef slaughterhouse since the 1980s. The strike at the Swift Beef Company plant in Greeley began Monday morning with Claire Poundstone, an attorney representing United Food and Commercial Workers Local 7. Poundstone said she expected workers to participate in the strike line through the evening. We'll be here all day, she said. So you can see what's going on. The strike follows accusations from union officials that owner JBS USA retaliated against workers and committed other unfair labor practices and contract negotiations. A previous contract expired at midnight Sunday. So you've got meat packer workers, one of the largest meat packing plants in the country, shutting down, or at least them going on strike. Okay, it's just crazy. High car payments make ownership feel impossible. Look at this. An $830 a month car payment, auto insurance $280 each month, thousands more for tire and maintenance repairs. For almost 3 years, those bills followed Divine Green, a nursing student who hasn't missed or been late on a payment since buying her Kia K5 GT in November of 2023. A Kia. But keeping up with the payments has driven up her debt more than $80,000, not including student loans. Can you imagine? And that's like on average. They're talking about how I think they said the average I think they said the average car payment right now is like over $600, $700 through financing. Can you imagine, man? The sister's down there paying I don't know if she's a sister or not, but whatever. $1,100 a month just to drive to and from work. That's a debt slave. Baruch 3:8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from our Lord, our power. Yeah, and Haggai says that we either earneth wages to put it in the bag full of holes. As soon as you get it, it falls right out the pockets. Debt slaves, sharecroppers. I mean, that's pretty much what we're doing, man. There's no ownership of anything, you know. So people are buckling on the pressure just from trying to be able to have transportation. $830 for a car payment and $280 a month for insurance, let alone, like they said, unforeseen maintenance, tires, so forth and so on. You can forget about it. She's only 24. If that's what this new generation has to deal with, man, you can forget about it, man. Give me a hoopty all day and no car payment, as opposed to trying to keep up with the Joneses. But most want to have their own, need to get finance, got bad credit, whatever, and killing themselves just to live, just to drive a car, man, to get to and from work and run your errands. And now gas is going up, not going up, is up, and continually rising. You can forget about it. To address farm labor shortage, Trump administration turns to migrant workers. Oh, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black, man? Guess what? Come on back. I love the Mexicans. I love the Guatemalans. I know we had problems earlier, but I need your help. Get in the fields. Get back out there. I need your help. Migrant workers now. After all that ICE talk, all of that, now you see what happens, man. Now you see what happens when Pharaoh told the children of Israel, yeah, go out and worship your God. And then the Most High hardened his heart and said, no, bring them back. I can't lose you right now. My kingdom will crumble if I lose you. This is why every kingdom that had the children of Israel under bondage was on top. As Egypt, as Assyria, as Babylon, as the Persians and Medes, as Rome, as the Greeks, ask America, you name it. Wherever the children of Israel are concentrated at and under bondage, that nation is ruling. That nation is ruling. And now you see, he's got to beg the damn migrants to come back and work for him. Get back in the fields. I need help. Trump address to address farm labor shortage. Trump administration turns to migrant workers as the president's immigration policy squeeze an already tight supply of farm labor. The Trump administration is making it cheaper to hire foreign farm workers. Oh, isn't that nice of him? For years, the agricultural sector has faced a tight labor market. As farm workers age and fewer new immigrants and younger Americans are willing to toil in the fields, top Trump administration officials vowed that mass deportation would help, leading to higher wages with better benefits and 100% American workforce. That obviously ain't go down. So you can see, number one, he's bowed down to Russia, gave them the sanctions so that they can get remove their sanctions so they can get paid. Iran lowered their sanctions to get paid. Now he's got to double back and he's got to hire migrant workers so that the fields can keep getting plowed and worked. Everything he says he's doing, he got to double back and eat crow. All praise to the Most High, man. The pride of thy heart have deceived him. I'm gonna skip that one. Look at this. Diseases on deck. First known case of severe Mpox virus strain detected in NYC. So, let's not forget, man. He still got a virus that he can push. Economic collapse. I mean, it's damn near a foregone conclusion the way things is going right now. With this war continuing, it's going to be a multifaceted collapse from not only economic, that's going to translate into food, which is going to translate into civil unrest, you name it. And then because of the fact that energy, healthcare, everything else is going to be suffering, that's going to be the perfect time for the next virus to pop as things keeps collapsing. So monkeypox coming out, they're calling it Mpox now, but outbreak over there in New York. Pro-Iranian hackers claim a Microsoft outage vowed to ramp up attacks on U.S. companies. So they've been having, cyber attacks happening within, companies. Last week they hit the healthcare system. Now, they're constantly moving. So there's an internal economic warfare going on, man. Digital warfare going on. Legitimate war going on out there. Wars, rumors of wars on multiple fronts. Okay. Economic warfare. Cuba faces an island-wide blackout amid a legal Trump blockade. So not only is he cutting off Cuba's existence, now mind you, this is supposed to be a country that's supposed to be talking about that stands for democracy, liberty, and justice for all. They're supposed to be the ones who go out and help the poor and help everybody, and the philanthropists, and actively destroying, starving out, and killing a whole island of people because they don't agree with you, because they have friends that you don't get along with. While we're busy destroying the Gulf, our side project is implementing a total siege of the island of Cuba, said one progressive critic. Unbelievably cruel. But that's the nature and that's the spirit that the so-called white man had ever since the Spaniard invasions, the conquistadors, you name it. They've always done that to the Arawak Indians. They've done that to the Maroons. They've done that to the Taínos. They've done it to the indigenous populations here. Starve them out, take the resources, disease, give them disease, destroy. That spirit is still lively right now. Right now. Right? He's continuing on in the same way. Cuba faced an island-wide blackout on Monday amid an energy crisis resulting from President Donald Trump's decision to ramp up the U.S. decades-long illegally contested blockade of the Caribbean country by cutting off shipments of Venezuelan oil. A total disconnection of the island's electrical system has occurred, but, quote, the causes are being investigated and protocols for restoration are beginning to be activated. The Cuban Ministry of Energy and Mines said on social media. It later added that, quote, no faults were reported in the units operating when the grid collapsed and the restoration process continues. So even with this, Russia seen what was going on, and Russia said, don't trip, we got you. They went and was sending oil over there, and America said, don't help them. If you do, we're going to have a problem. Look at this. U.S. says Cuba is prohibited from taking Russian oil as 2 tankers head to the island. So Russia said, man, don't trip. You ain't got to get they were said you can't have no oil from Venezuela. So Russia says, well, take our oil. We've always been allies, man. Y'all looked out for us in the 50s. Everything's good with us. We'll come help y'all out, man. We don't want to see you over there in darkness with no reliable energy sources, no light, no nothing. And then America says, back down. No, we want them completely destroyed. That's going to cause problems with them in Russia. Because Russia ain't gonna sit back and just be like, man, don't tell us who we can and can't sell to, man. The sanctions is off. We doing what we want to do. And America said, well, hold on. The sanctions was with contingencies. Yeah. No North Korea, no Cuba. Clearly, Russia said, man, we ain't listening to that. We're going to give it to who we want to give it to. We're going to sling it to who we want. We're going to help who we want to help. The U.S. Treasury Department has made it clear that Cuba is not allowed to take delivery of Russian crude. The warning comes at a time when 2 tankers carrying Russian oil and gas are thought to be on their way to Havana. The fuel-starved Caribbean island is facing its biggest test since the collapse of the Soviet Union under the U.S. blockade. So America is a cold piece of work, boy. I mean, there is no mercy. Remember, even with the scriptures, it said, he shall show no mercy to the young, nor to the old in Deuteronomy 28. He does not give a damn, man, if they go over there and turn cannibals and the whole island turns into damn zombies. That's what he wants. So he can be appearing as the good guy and go over there and say, well, don't worry, we'll come over there and save everybody. We're going to go over there and make sure that you guys are liberated because of bad leadership over there. Let us take control. Buy up the whole island, pennies on the dollar, man. Next thing you know, it becomes a whole new depot under the Don Road Doctrine. And they kick out any Russia operatives. They kick out any Chinese operatives and say, we don't need our enemies any closer to us than necessary. That's what they want to do. If that means death and destruction and the toiling of the land, until then, that's what they're going to do. Look, people are urged to work from home in a global oil crisis. I mean, it's at the point now where they're saying, if you ain't got to drive to work, man, preserve the oil for those who need it. That's in Europe. International Energy Agency says commuting should be limited as war in the Middle East intensifies. People have been urged to work from home as as Iran war intensifies. The energy crisis sweeping the globe. International Energy Agency said people should limit commuting where possible as the worldwide energy shock becomes, quote, more and more severe. Can you imagine? Where it's at the point now where they're telling people to limit your driving. If you can work from home, stay home. Preserve the oil. I was a baby when the oil prices in the 70s went down. I need to ask my other elders, man, what was happening during that time, because I seen pictures and heard about it. It was pretty bad. But at this point, man, where they asking people, man, limit your driving if possible. But I still see, man, cars are still all over the place, man. Even out here, I was just driving the other day, and I was just like, how the hell is it all this traffic and people still all over the place, man? How are they affording gas? But one thing I did notice is that at certain gas stations, the price changes if you use your credit card or if you use cash or your debit card. And I started trying to consciously look, like the person before me, were they paying the credit card price or were they paying the cash or the debit price? Most of the times I see, it's the credit card price. People are going into debt just to fill up the tank, man, just to get where they need to get to. Using a credit card to get gas. And that's where we're at now. Borrowing to get gas. People are financing groceries. You heard about it, Klarna. People having to finance groceries now. It's bad out there, man. Armageddon. Flyer chaos rages as 300 TSA officers quit while Dems refuse a budget deal. So TSA, they're destroying the airlines. They're destroying travel. Doesn't matter because now that the oil is so expensive and ticket prices is up. People ain't trying to go nowhere anyway. But for those that you see the strikes going on in the meatpacking plants, TSA agents just walking off. They talking about how bad it's going to be with travel and how the delays are because of short staff. Look at it. Hundreds of TSA officers have quit over the federal budget battle that left them working without pay, fueling hours, long flight delays, and Department of Homeland Security videos blaming Dems for the travel nightmare. More than 300 TSA officers have tossed in the towel since the shutdown began on February 14th, while a slew of other workers have been taking unscheduled absences. CBS News reported citing internal TSA statistics. Hobby Airport in Houston saw 53% of its TSA officers call out on March 8th and 47% the next day, while other airports have seen double-digit call-out averages since the shutdown started. And I like the fact that this even came out because we used to always say, man, if all of Israel called off work for one day, see how bad America's economy falters. Don't let us do it a whole 7 days. Don't let us do it in completion. If all of us said, we're going on strike, all of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and we said, we ain't working. Call off for the week. They will have to beg everybody to come back. This place was shut down immediately, man. The service industry, from hotels, restaurants, car repairs, electricians, construction builders. I mean, we do it all. The tech sector, this thing will be down the drain. So the fact that they came together and said, hey, you know what, at least 50, more than half of us, man, call off and see what happens. And you're seeing that they're already reeling right now. So I see that would have worked. Yeah, a third of TSA officers call out at least 3 major U.S. airports in a single day. U.S. prosecutors investigate Colombia's president, a one-time Trump foe. Now, remember, Colombian president was telling Trump when they went after Venezuela, you after me next, come on, bring it on. I ain't ducking no smoke. And now look at him. This guy is devious, man. While he's over there getting his hands dirty in the Middle East, he's still on the back end. This is how you know, man, this place is like the Hydra with multiple arms and tentacles all over the damn earth. He's got his hands dirty in the Middle East, man, getting his ass whooped over there. And then still over here, knocking down Cuba. Now he's reaching over here to Colombia to try to, make them the next target. And then still over there looting and taking what he can from out of Venezuela. Multiple tentacles on this damn Hydra as America is constantly looking for complete global dominance. U.S. prosecutors are investigating Colombia's president, a one-time Trump foe. What is he being investigated for? The Justice Department is examining whether President Gustavo Petro of Colombia has ties to drug traffickers. Of course, it's the drugs. Them dirty, stinking Latinos, you know they love drugs. They're all the biggest drug dealers in the world. They're all guilty. Except for his buddy down there in Argentina, which he ain't even no damn Hispanic, man. He's a damn Spaniard. So don't be surprised the next invasion goes down in Colombia because they found out Gustavo's over there slanging the cocaine. Oh boy, he's on for the next one. White House gearing up to drop the next Epstein distraction. What are they talking about? Oh, it's the UFOs, the unidentified aerial phenomena. So it's a problem when another distraction is coming out. What are they bubbling up? What are they trying to do? Get ready for a lot of alien talk again. And just off of that, I'm gonna make it brief, y'all. Look at this. Now see the book, Behold the Pair. I've talked about this before, right? I'm gonna just jump up a little bit. I know it's a little blurry, but hopefully y'all just hear me. Okay. The conclusions are inescapable. The secret power structure may believe. Now, this book, I believe, was written in 91, maybe a little earlier. The secret power structure may believe that by our own ignorance or by divine decree, planet Earth will self-destruct sometime in the near future. These men sincerely believe that they are doing the right thing in their attempt to save the human race. It is terribly ironic that they have been forced to take as their partner an alien race such as itself engaged in monumental struggle for survival. Many moral and legal compromises may have been made in this joint effort. These compromises were made in error and must be corrected. Those responsible should be brought to account for their actions. I can understand the fear and urgency that must have been instrumental in the decision not to tell the public. Obviously, I disagree with that decision. Now, this guy, he used to work under naval intelligence, and his testimony is that he saw alien aircraft before. That's one of his things, right? But he was coming to the conclusion that it wasn't necessarily aliens, but this was technology that America had that they were going to use as a false flag or to use as a narrative for distraction and to control the people. Just claim that there's an alien invasion. Meanwhile, he was like, this is all technology that's being controlled by America, whether it's remotely or they actually have pilots. The technology exists that they got, metal orbs, hovercraft, self lifting hovercraft technology and all this other stuff. So, where's the part I want to see? Okay, let's read part 2. It says, we are being manipulated by a joint human, quote, human/alien power structure, which will result in a one world government and a partial enslavement of the human race. This has been deemed necessary to solve the elemental question: who will speak for the planet Earth? It has been decided that man is not mature enough in his evolutionary development to be trusted to interact properly with the alien race. So they're going to say that there's an alien invasion coming in. Somebody's got to be the mouthpiece for the people. We can't rely on the people. So you're going to have the elite say, well, we got to create a new world order so that we can move in alignment with the aliens. We already have enough trouble between the different human races. So what would happen if a totally alien extraterrestrial race was introduced? Would they be lynched, split upon, or shot? Would discrimination result in a nasty encounter that would doom humanity as a result of aliens' obviously superior technology? Have our leaders decided to lock us up in the playpen? The only way to prevent this scenario from taking place is to cause an evolutionary leap in consciousness, a paradigm shift from the entire human race. I have no idea how it can be done, but I know that it desperately needs to be done. It needs to be done very quickly and very quietly. The government has been totally deceived, and we are being manipulated by alien power, which, what is it said? No, okay, so here's the last little thing. I don't want to get too lost into this. But it says, now he's saying if none of the above is true, if there's no alien conspiracy, none of that's true, he says something else may be very happening, which is beyond our ability to understand at this moment. We must force disclosure of all the facts, discover the truth, and act upon it. The situation in which we find ourselves is due to our own actions and inactions over the last 44 years. Because it is our own fault, we are the only ones who can change future events. Education seems to be a major part of the solution. The remaining part of the abolition is secrecy. There is always a possibility that I was used, that the whole alien scenario is the greatest hoax in history, designed to create an alien enemy from outer space in order to expedite the formation of a one world government. I found evidence that this could be true. I have included that evidence in the appendix. I advise you to consider this scenario as being probable. So I'm going to just stop right there, right? So this is the part right here that I was looking for. I kind of overread. But he's saying, listen, he got exposed to seeing some alien technology. He initially was running with it like, yeah, there's aliens out there. They're hiding it from us. They're going to use, the invasion as the means to control us. Now he's saying, even if he's wrong, he's saying that this is still going to be the greatest hoax that's going to be designed to expedite the formation of the new world order or one world government. Alien invasion is coming. We got to, come together under new governmental structure. Everybody got to be regulated, before the invasion. Remember last year they've been talking about Planet X and the B rule for a long time. Last year they were talking about the three-eye atlas. I mean, there's a constant threat, man. You're constantly seeing people talking about. Now, don't get me wrong. We know the chariots are real, right? But the narrative that they put out there, these flying saucers, these big head aliens with skinny bodies, 8 feet tall, all this other stuff, that's all bogus. That's all bogus. Now with the advent with AI and all this, I mean, I seen the video, they doing AI, man, with damn Ishmael on a carpet, flying, chasing the damn F-16, shooting at the damn F-16 with a AK-47. Just foolishness. But now with AI and all this stuff, man, people are starting to question, well, is that real? Is it real? Is it not? And that's where they utilize the technology to perfect it to where they could pull off a hoax. They could say this is what's going on, and we need everybody on one accord under this particular structure if we're going to survive, right? So they're saying this is the next distraction. They're trying to get past the Epstein. Notice the Epstein talk is kind of dying down. Now that war kicked off, you don't hear a lot of people, they ain't rushing the Epstein. That's kind of like taking a back seat. Yeah, so the distraction worked. They had to go to war to try to bury that. Even though you still got diehards out there that's like, I ain't letting it go. But for the most part, some people are still like, okay, moving on. My gas is going up. My groceries going up. I ain't got time for Epstein, whatever. He's gone. I'm hurting over here. Like, that's the thing. And now if you ain't on that, well, hey, let's talk about the aliens. They're coming. So President Trump appears to be on the brink of unveiling his much hyped disclosure on alien life. Yeah, so he's talking about he's going to unlock the files about the aliens and everything else. Look at this. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I'll be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. Imagine that. This is what he's saying this about, right? He didn't come out and say this about these Epstein files. He wasn't so proud to put them out there like that, was he? I don't think so. Look at your boy, man. Scientists turn mosquitoes into vaccination tool to immunize bats against rabies. Remember this guy? Remember him?
For example, there's more money put into baldness drugs than are put into malaria. Now, baldness it's a terrible thing. And rich men are afflicted. And so that's why that priority has been set. But malaria, even the million deaths a year caused by malaria greatly understate its impact. Over 200 million people at any one time are suffering from it. Means that you can't get the economies in these areas going because it holds things back so much. Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here so you could experience this. We'll let those roam around the auditorium a little bit. There's no reason only poor people should have the experience.
Only the poor people, right? So he knows his target audience. If you remember when he was married, and him and his wife were sitting there talking about the C-19 jab in the arm, and they were talking about they wanted to get it out to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans first. Oh, because we want to help the poor people first. So always know, man, when he speaketh fair, believe him not, because there's 7 abominations in his heart, man. So scientists are turning to mosquitoes as a vaccination tool. So they're pumping up mosquitoes with jabs, to help immunize the bats, right? Well, what did they say was the cause of the C-19? Oh, it was the bats. Now he's talking about malaria. They've already been talking about weaponizing vaccines in not only mosquitoes, but also in food. So imagine this. This is just the cover story. But meanwhile, they got the GMO modified mosquitoes, man. They got the vaccine in them, and they go around letting them things loose, just like he opened them up in front of everybody, and they thought it was a big old joke. He let the mosquitoes out. How cool. And meanwhile, they're poking you and injecting and giving you something that you don't want to have. We know about the biological experiments that, Esau has done. From Avon Park, Florida, where they, had killed brothers and sisters down there in Florida and in southern Georgia with infected mosquitoes. We know about the germ warfare and the biological warfare that it did to brothers and sisters in St. Louis with the putting chemicals in the tailpipes of station wagons and spraying over cities in St. Louis with deadly toxins, giving them cancer. So biological and germ warfare, he's no stranger to. So don't sleep on, it's just for the mosquitoes, for the bats. It's not for humans. He just got to telling you, we can put a vaccine for malaria in the mosquitoes, let them out, and then hopefully the poor people don't get malaria no more. There's no reason why they should be dying. And he's a hypocrite because he's been talking about population control for the longest and talking about death panels and putting people grandmothers and put to death instead of keeping them on life support. The money it's costing to keep them on life support. You can employ 5 or 6 teachers. So we got to make hard decisions about that. But people don't want to talk about the death panels. One minute he wants to act like he's talking about saving the lives of quote unquote poor people from malaria, and then next minute he's really showing his fangs, talking about how he wants to reduce the population. So which one is it? When he's speaking fair, don't believe this guy, man. Never trust your enemy. New York, dark skies, lights off after 11 p.m. They're proposing a curfew for the lights off to save energy and to protect. Hold on, man. This is how foolish this is. New York's night sky could darken under proposed Dark Skies Protection Act. New York State could be on the verge of a significant shift in the nighttime landscape. A proposed law known as the Dark Skies Protection Act aims to dramatically reduce light pollution across the state, potentially requiring many outdoor lights to be switched off after 11 p.m. The legislation introduced by Senator Brad Holman Siegel seeks to balance public safety with the growing need to protect wildlife, conserve energy, and restore visibility of the night sky. You know, I'm gonna be frank, man. Niggas is gonna have a field day with lights off. You worry about protecting life, man. Who's gonna protect the innocent brothers and sisters and people out there in the streets from niggas roaming in the streets with the lights out? Especially now when the economy's bad and everybody's trying to come up. You just inviting crime, criminal activity. You inviting for, you inviting for heinous crimes to go up, man. These little YNs, they can't wait for the lights to go out so they can throw on their little shiesty ski mask on and go run around with hoods on and go commit crimes and death and murder amongst each other. And now you're giving them a reason saying, oh, because we want to protect the wildlife and conserve energy and allow the night sky, the visibility of the night sky to help. Come on. How foolish is this, man? The bill targets a wide range of outdoor lighting from residential floodlights and decorative building illumination to commercial spotlights and billboards. Under the proposed regulations, any outdoor lighting fixture not meeting specific design standards will be mandated to shut off between 11 p.m. and sunrise, with the exception for motion-activated lights that automatically turn off within 15 minutes. I mean, this is complete madness, man. You talk about a foolish nation running this place. New York, big city of dreams, one of the biggest cities in the country, no stranger to criminal activity. They said, man, we need to turn the lights off at 11. And good luck to everybody. Stay in the house if you don't want to be outside. It's the city that never sleeps. What are you talking about? Stay in the house if you don't want to be out. Esau is crazy, man. Unbelievable. Look at it. Here we go. Powell, job creation is near zero. Near zero. We talked about it earlier. There goes the article, man. So if you're wondering where this economy is headed, where America's headed, it's definitely not headed in an upward spiral. This thing is heading downward, man. No damn jobs created. God forbid somebody lose their job, man, right now, and you got fired or something, because they making it even more strict, more harder for you to get disability or for you to get unemployment. They ain't creating no new jobs. It's bad out there, y'all. Bad. And look at this. Jeff Bezos talks about raising $100 billion for AI manufacturing fund. Amazon founder has traveled to the Middle East, Singapore, and fundraising effort linked to Project Prometheus, an AI startup. Translation, he's investing $100 billion for AI technology to take over his industry. And where is he putting all this money into? He ain't doing it for American companies, for people to survive over here. The Middle East is going to get the funding for this. Singapore, to help develop the AI, to take all the Amazon jobs, all the shipping jobs. He's got what's he about? The Wall Street Journal. I mean, all of his particular businesses, man. This guy is trying to buy the block out with AI technology and kick everybody up out of the private sector of working. $100 billion he's investing so he ain't got to pay regular workers no more. So if you wonder where the economy's going, there you go. Lastly, major storms and flooding going on in Oahu over there in Hawaii, man. They talking about that place is over there in underwater right now. And another storm is about to come. A dam on the northern part of the island was close to failing, emergency officials said. You've seen some of the imagery. If you haven't seen it, man, look it up. Oahu over there, man, is in deep trouble right now, and floods, storms, and they said another storm is going to come, and they talking about this dam might break. So if anybody was around in 05 with Katrina, it's very reminiscent of that right now over there. So a lot going on, y'all. A lot going on in this earth. A lot going on in this earth, man. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, IQAhmath, man. It's your brother, man, signing up out of here. Prayerfully, man, this was edifying, man, and y'all got some edification out of this tonight. Share this with your friends, family, if need be. You know, getting closer to Passover, man. Prayerfully, everybody's out there purging, doing what you need to do. You get your spirits in order, your personal house in order, your home in order. Get that leaven up out of there, man. The malice and the wickedness, everything that comes along with it. Don't allow that to rest within you, man, and continue swelling up and puffing you up. All right. We want to make sure that we get ourselves together. All right. April 1st will be Passover. Make sure you continually purge and do what you need to do to get prepared. Time is of the essence. It's moving fast. Right. So with that being said, I'm going to get up out of here, man. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, IQAhmath. Always remember, man, fear the Most High, keep the commandments. Don't shoot the messenger.